Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm here to bring you guys my thoughts on Pokemon Legends ZA that got its full official reveal last week. So let's get straight into it. I'm just going to kind of let this play as we go through it here and sort of give my thoughts as it appears. So immediately one of the first things that sort of came to my head, and I'm sure it came to pretty much everybody's head when they were watching this, is that it does look visually similar to Scarlet and Violet. Like if you look at especially the people, they look similar to Scarlet and Violet. But I will say this looks significantly better in my opinion. Um, like I just think it definitely looks better. It could still look even better than it does. Don't get me wrong. I mean, when the Xenoblade games look like what they look like and stuff like that, I would want Pokemon to look better than it does. But I'm still, I think, happy with how improved this looks in comparison to the Gen 10 or Gen 9. I'm still happy with how it looks in comparison to Scarlet and Violet. I think it looks a lot better. And then um, that's just the graphics out of the way quick for you guys. I know Pokemon fans, you guys don't love that talk, it seems. So next, just let's talk about the actual game. And we have this single setting, this one setting in Lumio City, where that means we have these wild zones, which I guess would function similar to routes would across a whole region, but instead it's just this little tiny area, and you can kind of see how little it is. You can see like the little green fence over there, and on the other side as well to the left, and I think that just gives me a nice way to talk about why I think the single setting is going to work just fine. I don't think it's going to be a major problem within the game, and I don't know. I think people are really freaking out about the fact that it's only going to have that single setting, and I just think it's not going to actually be that big of a deal. Lumio City is like massive already in the original X and Y, and it's obviously going to be much expanded in this game. So I just don't think that single setting is going to be a very big deal within this game. I really don't, and I do think the what did they call them? Wild zones or whatever. I do like at least the ones that they showed us look small, and I wish they were a little bigger. I wish we had like a Central Park kind of thing, but maybe there will be, and maybe there's just smaller wild zones throughout that as well. So I think that I think that it's just going to be fine. I think it's just going to be fine. I don't think we have any need to really be concerned about that because Lumio City is supposed to be this massive city, and it can't be in a normal Pokemon game where you have the whole rest of the region to fill out. But when you just have Lumio City, they're gonna make it as massive as it's like supposed to be, or as like it is conceptually. And so I just don't think people should be worrying about that single setting. Next thing that we saw there was the different battle system, which I don't know if we have enough to really go super in depth about that new battle system. But I'm going to try anyway. So we know that Legends Arceus had a different battle system, but it did kind of keep it a little turn-based. And I hated the Legends Arceus battle system. I like the normal battle system. I play a lot of competitive mons. I like it. So I really didn't like the agile style, strong style, or the how greatly speed would affect like you go twice in a row or something. I didn't love that. I mean it's cool conceptually, but in practice I didn't love it. This feels like a full step towards like an action game, although it's kind of weird because obviously it's not. It is. It's kind of weird. It's just kind of weird. And we'll see here in a minute. It's going to show us the quick look at it again, but the positioning of your character and the Pokemon matters. I guess the Pokemon just kind of follows you. which at that point you could just control them on would be better. But they do kind of follow you, and the position matters because you can real-time dodge things, which is interesting for sure. And yeah, and you're gonna have still have type effectiveness and all that stuff, but they kind of follow you around the battlefield, which is very interesting. And I think that this is just the natural development of that Legends Arceus um, battle system and like movement towards a more actiony style of game. And we had like kind of action stuff in Legends Arceus as well, with the whatever the guys that were throwing tantrums, and you had to dodge them. Um, so I do think this is like a natural development of that. But you do see like Totodile just kind of followed him over there, and then we smack Tepig with a water gun, which is kind of sick. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. And like for example, this Hippowdon put up the Stealth Rocks right in front of the Talonflame, and the Talonflame just killed itself into it, which is interesting. So there's actually a lot of interesting things that I think could happen with this, despite me enjoying um, the normal battle system a lot. I do think this could be quite interesting. I will hold off complete judgment on that till later, until I probably actually play the game. So yeah, and then say G plus, C plus. Sorry, a little. We got to do a little live action here, but yeah, you can still see there's some rough edges in those graphics, but that's okay. It's still a Switch game. Um, yeah, so I think the battle system is going to be fine. I don't think it's going to be amazing, but I will hold off judgment until farther. And then lastly, I'll just talk about did they show anything about the story here? Really? I'm not sure they showed us much. I mean, this is probably something. I mean, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. That's probably something, but I don't feel like they showed us a lot about the story. Certainly not the most um, informative trailer for story-wise, but I do think there's some that they've showed us. Like, I guess my question is, like, how does this high-tech urban redevelopment plan? How do you get an antagonist out of that? Like, are those freaks? Like, are they just like laundering money by doing this? Like, I don't understand. What is the antagonist going to be like? So that'll be interesting to find out. And it definitely seems like it's going to be less of a grand thing when compared to Legends Arceus, where you have like the meeting with Giratina, stuff like that. I don't think it's going to feel that way. So that's interesting. Um, yeah, it'll be interesting. Obviously, AZ's here, which is cool. So we know this is probably after X and Y. And like these guys obviously give off evil vibes, but we don't really know anything else about the story. So I do wish they kind of give us a little bit more droplets on that. Really do. I really do. But that's all right. That's all right. And then we have these wild zones. They do have those numbers on them, which I don't know if that just means a wild zone 1. I guess that's just the number of like kind of like a route number, which is cool. This looks like right after you got your starter probably. So I just think it'll be interesting. It's definitely way different than any Pokemon game we've had before it, which is cool. And yeah, I think it's going to be very, very interesting for sure. So I do want to touch on like where are we going with this? Like, what is Gen 10 like? Is Legends or is like the Legend series just gonna be the sort of parallel series with the main games that go back, reuse regions, and sort of have these different mechanics that are a little bit more innovative compared to the rest of the series? And then you're gonna have the mainline games, Gen 10, still gonna have your normal battle system, maybe with a new gimmick like Terra or Z moves or whatever. and they'll both just continue going parallel. I honestly would love that. I think it would be sick. So, and I think that's a much more interesting way of doing remakes than like just doing like a true like mainline game remake. Not that I don't like the mainline game remakes. ORAS is awesome. I really like Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. So I do think like there's still room to do normal remakes, but I do think this is like a much more interesting way to revisit Kalos than like a normal remake would be. And Legends Arceus was obviously a much better way to revisit Sinnoh than uh, Brand New Diamond Shining Pearl. So I just think that's an interesting thing to think about going forward is what that looks like, what that is. And I guess we'll see as time goes. Certainly, I would think Gen 10 is next year. So I guess we'll see, and we'll see what Pokemon Champions role is and all that as well. But at this point, I believe I'm rambling. So I think I've said pretty much everything I want to. I mean, I think this is a generally positive trailer that the game visually looks more appealing than Scarlet and Violet did, and even probably more appealing than Legend Arceus did. So I think there's plenty of reasons to be encouraged by this reveal trailer. Really, I do, and I do think um, all the concerns, for the most part, really don't need to be that concerned, especially about the one setting being Lumio City. I don't think that will be a big deal. So, yeah, that's all I got. Thank you for watching. Like the video if you like it, and subscribe for more.